Welcome to Dindi Live, presented by Murrindindi Shire Council. Simulcast on UGFM in your local area. Due to Stage 3 restrictions being implemented across the Murrindindi Shire, Dindi Live has had to make some adjustments to the way we do things. We'll continue to bring you entertainment from a range of musicians and artists who are recording from home at this time. Dindi Live would like to introduce Tully Sumner.
Hi there everyone, my name's Tully Sumner. I'm here to play you some songs for Dindi Live. You may have seen me before playing at Alexandra Farms Day. Been up there a few times. Wonderful little festival, local and supportive of all the cool things within the Shire. Going to play you a few songs tonight, and the first one is called Mice and Men. All the pieces on the ground, I've gathered them all now, there's just one left to be found. Work all night, we'll work all day, save our money, then we'll take off far away, and we'll buy a little place all our own. We'll grow fat off the food from the seeds we have sown. I don't care what other people may say, there's just nothing in the world that's gonna tear this dream away. Cup of herbal tea. This next song is a song called Dreams. It's I guess it's sort of a jazzy sort of country number. Tearing down broken scaffolding that once did hold all our hopes so high. I thought we'd touch the sky. Stable foundations, piece by piece, stone by stone, just died in the basement of the mine. Yes, I hear voice of reason, can't get it out of my head. Night after night, angels and demons, they dance round me in my bed, but I'll see you only in my dreams. Stand aside, shield your eyes, soon the dust will clear. The tower that was so tall, now there's nothing left at all, just a memory. So small, yes, I hear the voice of reason, can't get it out of my head. Night after night, the angels and demons dance round me in my bed, but I'll see you only in my dreams. But I'll see you only in my dreams. all it needs to grow into the mightiest tree. For that tree to grow, it takes water from the earth below. It's reaching down ever so slow. Give it hope, give it strength, show it the light that has guided many. Help it to stand in times of need. Help it to stand silent and steady. Praise the little things. Praise the little things. The little things in life. Praise the little things. Praise the little things. The little things in Thanks very much for listening, everyone. I've been Tully Sumner, and hope you enjoyed my music, and hopefully see you soon. Thanks very much. Bye.
Up next, we chat with Christine Middleton and Tim Sheed.
Hello there, Dindi Live. My name is Christine Middleton, and this is my husband, Tim Sheed. Just for some context for local Murrindindi Shire, my maiden name was Christine Tate. So Rex and Sylvia Tate were my parents. So today we're here to talk to you about the Dusty Swag Poetry and Yarn Spinning Awards for 2020.
Can you tell us about the history of the Dusty Swag Award?
The Dusty Swag Awards were set up in the year 2000 by Paul Bannon, who's a local poet and performer, Australian bush performer from Yea. My father was particularly interested in the Dusty Swag Awards because as a young boy in his early formative years, he was brought up by an aunt and uncle in Tenterfield on a farm. And he often told the story, he went to a one-teacher school up at Tenterfield, and he often told the story about the assessment for his English or literature exam was that you had to recite the whole of The Man from Snowy River perfectly. The Man from Snowy River, of course, was written by the iconic, famous Banjo Paterson. So Rex had always had a real interest in poetry. He never wrote poetry, but he definitely was interested in the stories of the early Australian times. So he got involved with the Dusty Swag Award over 20 years ago when it first started. And he took it over in the year 2002, and he ran it every year right up until his death about 4 years ago.
Where have these awards been held in the Murrindindi Shire?
What happened was that Rex started promoting the Dusty Swag Award to encourage people to retain our Australian storytelling, folklore, poetry, and he had entries from the Murrindindi Shire, lots of locals, but also broader than that, Western Australia, Tasmania, Queensland, they had entries from everywhere. And what he did was each year around October, he would have the results and he'd have a little presentation. And he did this at all different venues. There was the Country Club Hotel one year in Yea. There was the Yark Hotel. There was the Hume and Hovel cricket ground out there. So Tim and I used to attend all those presentations, and he would get people who had submitted their poetry from the Murrindindi Shire to present their poetry and yarn spinning. So they were really special afternoons that we used to have.
What is the significance of bush poetry and yarn spinning in Australian history?
The significance of Australian bush poetry in Australian history is that from about 1870 on until the early part of the 20th century, bush poetry formed a large part of our culture. It was integral to the forming of the Federation, where the states came together to form the Commonwealth. The history was that Australia was a group of separate colonies, and it caused all sorts of difficulties. But the colonies were uniting insofar as people moved across the borders freely. Goods didn't, but people did. And so the sense of unity of a country started to grow from that. And these bush poets like Banjo Paterson, Henry Lawson, Will Ogilvie, and quite a few other well-known wrote nationalist poetry that united the country. And the Bulletin magazine in Sydney was called the Bible of the Bush. And these poets were regularly published in there, and it formed a real... It literally was the Bible of the bush. It was currency. If you had the latest bulletin on you and you're out in the country, people wanted to get it off you and read it, so you'd trade them. And so that bush poetry, rhyming metered verse particularly, was the form that was used, and that's the form that's used for the Dusty Swag Awards. So if you go have a look at some of the truly marvellous Australian poetry written in that time, particularly from about 1890 to 1905, very powerful, very nationalist poetry without being jingoistic. So it was a really interesting time, and Australia was moving away from being a British colony to being a nation of its own, and it was really important part of that push to unite the colonies. So it has a very significant part. And it's continued on with other bush poets. And the Australian Bush Poets Association, which I have the honour of being president, and Christine is currently the treasurer, publish a bi-monthly magazine And in that, we've got a half-page advertisement for the Dusty Swag Awards for 2020, and the judging of that will happen at the end of November. So all of the information is available on the Australian Bush Poet Association's website. The reason for rhymed and metered storytelling in that form is that it's easier to memorise and carry on as a story to other people. So if you've got to make it rhyme, you're going to remember more of the key words in storytelling. So it's a very powerful tool for carrying on stories and keeping them pretty much according to Hoyle, not running off the rails too much.
What are the details of entry into the award?
I also wanted to say that when Rex, my father, passed away 4 years ago, he was so passionate about the Dusty Swag Award and keeping the storytelling and poetry alive that he left a small bequest in his will to carry on. So Tim and I have carried on the Dusty Swag. Although traditionally we had the presentations locally in the Murrindindi Shire, this year, or for next year, we'll be announcing the winners at either Tamworth Music Festival, if it's still going ahead, but next year it will be at the Banjo Patterson Festival in Orange. And the winners will have the opportunity to, that's our national championships, Australian Bush Poetry Championships. So the winners and runners-up will have the opportunity to recite their poetry in the venue at Orange. So we have all age groups are encouraged to put entries in. So there's juniors and seniors, poetry and short stories, yarn spinning. So for juniors, primary, it's maximum of 20 lines of poetry and up to 200 words for the storytelling. And for seniors, which we classify as secondary schools, poetry up to 40 lines and short story up to 750 words. Juniors and seniors, there's no entry fee, it's free. And there is this year the theme is, it's pretty broad, but Australian Bush. And for adults over 18 years, it's a maximum of 60 lines and short story up to 1,000 words. There is prize money. It's $100 first prize, $50 second prize, and all winners get a membership, 12-month membership of the Australian Bush Poetry Association. But as I said, they also get the opportunity to present their entries at the Banjo Patterson Festival in Orange, which is held in February, I think, February. And also their poetry and storytelling will be published in the National Australian Bush Poetry Association. So we strongly encourage all of you to, consider entering the Dusty Swag.
Have you had many entries from the Murrindindi Shire?
So in the past, with the Dusty Swag, we've had a lot of entries from the Murrindindi Shire, as I was saying before. And my father in 2002 published a book called 2002 Dusty Swag Awards, Bush Poems and Yarns. And they were all the winning entries. And there were a few from people like Alicia Oliver from Yea, Colin Taylor from Alexandra. And someone that he was very, really enjoyed the poetry from was, I'm trying to think of her name, Joe McKinley.
Yeah, Jill McKinley from Buxton. I'll do a little bit of hers that we sometimes use in my mother's play, but a little bit later. But and there was also Paul Bannon from Yea, who we mentioned earlier, and a fellow, I can't think of his name, but it might have been Andrew Bowie from around Yarkway, I think, at the time. And he was a very, very good poet and reciter, wrote his own poetry. So those are names that come to mind readily, and that's going back a while now. But hopefully we can get them back out of the jungle and doing their thing again. That'd be great.
So what's really great, like The Dusty Swag by Paul Bannon, that was his poem was the inspiration of the whole Dusty Swag competition. But Joy McKinley also, these are probably real stories that have been handed down through families. And this poem, which Tim will recite for you, is about the hawkers that used to come around in the Murrindindi region. And the hawkers were like the olden days travelling salesmen. And they were often they're Sikhs or Indians. And their little vans would be, or what do you call it? Carts would be pulled by horses or camels. And my mother-in-law talks about, as a little girl up around the Griffith area, of the hawkers coming around, and she and her mum ruffling through all the drawers, looking for cotton and little pearl earrings and things like that. And Jill McKinley really captured that storytelling in this poem. So this is an example of the type of rhymed and metered poetry that encaptures early Australian history that is very important to keep. So do you want to do...
I'll do the first little bit, but I haven't done it for a while, but that's a cop-out. It illustrates the rhymed and metered. So you'll hear the rhythm, the rhyme at the end of each line, and sometimes there's a rhyme in the middle as well. But this is Jill McKinley's poem. It's called Women's Business, and I'll just do a little bit of it. They were hoping to see Tuneful by the middle of the week, if the waters had subsided around Burrawonga Creek. For folk had passed the message on. He'd left Terang already. His horse was looking good and strong and pulling nice and steady. The women saw his visit as the highlight of the year, but the men just didn't like it, and they made that pretty clear. From the time of its arrival till the time had come to part, the women hung like magnets around Tuneful and his cart. Not only did he bring them all the usual pots and pans, but petticoats and magazines and dainty little fans. They'd ruffle through his button box in search of something shiny, then find the perfect ribbon or pearl earrings, neat and tiny.
Jill was from Buxton, and it was a terrific poem, that one. And that's a type of poetry that it's just about storytelling, really. It's another form of storytelling. But we really look forward to hearing from you, getting involved in the Dusty Swag Award to keep that storytelling and poetry of our early Australian times. Important social, historical documents as well. Thanks very much for listening. Tim and I really look forward to getting your entries, and we'll be in touch.
Yep, sharpen up your pencils. You've got good ideas in your heads. Write them down and send them in. We'd love to hear your stories, so please do so. Thanks for listening to Dindi Live.
Thanks to Tully Sumner, Christine Middleton and Tim Sheed. And thanks to you for listening and supporting local. Would you or your organisation like to be featured on our program? To register your interest, head over to murrindindi.vic.gov.au/Dindi Live. Dindi Live, bringing the arts to you.
In Murrindindi Shire, it's business as unusual, and right now our local businesses need you. Every dollar you spend locally helps business owners support their family, other businesses and you. Shop local, shop Dindi. Visit dindidirectory.com.au.